I made probably arguably one of the worst decisions for my business, and I'm going to explain to you in this video exactly what that was. So it all started when I went to Miami Seller Conference. Great event, you should go. Buy tickets this upcoming year. It'll be the best trip you ever take. I went to Miami, learned a ton about Amazon, and came back home with the realization that I have to aim bigger. I have to go harder. I have to believe it's possible. All these realizations came from this event, and that's exactly why I went there. So you should too. Secondly, my current business was primarily operating off of flipping books and online arbitrage. We had done some wholesale in the past, but got burned with a bad distributor, so took some time off. And I realized instead of wasting time with distributors, we got to go brand direct, and we got to get away from books because it's super risky. So what I did was I had about 2,000 books at my Amazon account, and I made the harsh decision to remove all of them. So we took about a $4,000 loss there out of my payout because of the removal fees. Then next, I had also pulled all my money out of my business to invest into the stock market and to be ready to deploy into Bitcoin and ETFs. So I had initially pulled a ton of money out of my business back in March and April when Trump crashed the stock market over tariffs, and bought in a ton there and laid my position there. And I decided I wanted to actually pull more money out of my business in May as well to set aside for dollar cost averaging, because I am 24 years old and I have time, and it's all about time in the game rather than everything else. Everybody in the Amazon space keeps all their money tied up in their businesses, and a lot of people that you follow actually don't make as much money as you think they do. They're buying SKUs that they're losing money on to buy SKUs that are profitable. They're taking losses. They're doing this, they're doing that. Mistakes happen. It's business. When you're buying the stock market, yes, shit can crash, but it always comes back up stronger. You got to have liquidity ready to buy these dips. You got to use your business for cash flow to invest into ETFs. So I requested the books, took loss there, pulled even more money out of my business for the stock market, and kept just what I needed technically for, quote, business development. What I mean by that is to pay my team of virtual assistants to do mass amounts of outreach to establish brand direct relationships. That costs money, and we didn't really have much money coming in to fund that, but the little amounts that I had left and the couple good OA products in rotation, and we took a fat loss from the books. Literally, guys, Q3 wrecked me this year. It wrecked me. We brought in no revenue. We completely restructured my business. It's a beautiful thing because you can't transition hard without massive changes, and when massive changes happen, it costs money. This is one of the things that I've learned about business, but it's a great thing, and that's why I feel more comfortable taking my camera out a little bit more lately, because me personally, when I'm going through changes and I'm not making a lot of content, I don't feel the most confident. I don't feel the best version of myself, and I don't feel like being in front of a camera and talking like I know what I'm talking about until I prove to myself through my actions that I do. So, right, over the last couple months, I've been feeling like we're getting to a better place with my business. We've established new, good brand direct relationships that are reoccurring. We can go back and buy the best SKUs. We have some new distributors we're buying from. And we're continuing to do outreach, continuing to land brands. And we got the whole book situation sorted. So we're finally back to being profitable after a very hard and rough change. And on top of that, my consistent contributions and the chances I took of taking my money out of my business for the stock market is also doing well, the stock market being at all-time new highs. So in the moments of where I was like, fuck, man, I got rent, my business didn't do hardly any revenue this month compared to what we usually do. Fucking the stock market was at all-time lows in April. It was hard to really feel like I knew what I was doing. And in those moments, that was a big reason why I stopped posting a lot of content. And with the coaching, took a huge hit because I stopped posting. I think the algorithm lost a little bit of sight of who to be pushing my content to because the organic bookings stopped. The organic bookings were, going crazy from December to whenever, December to about May, just because the algorithm knew who to push my content to. We were making good content. We were getting consistent bookings. And when I put the pause on coaching to focus on brand direct, because I knew I wasn't going to have time to manage clients, tend to their needs, actually give people good results, I had to water my own plants. And that also meant stop posting content, and the traction died down. So that also took a hit. This is what I mean. This video is me being completely brutally honest about the decisions I made and the outcome of them. So we lost a lot of money with the business, with removing all the inventory, paying staff to do a ton of outreach without any income coming in, pulling all my money out, investing in the stock market, just spreading myself absolutely as thin as humanly possible. And then we stopped posting content as well, so we had no coaching going. I took myself from making about $30,000 a month down to basically breaking even to restructure my business. You're probably sitting on the other side of the screen, dude, what the fuck were you thinking? Everything was going great. And there is a small part of me that also thinks, what was I thinking? Where would I be now if I had just stayed with consistency instead of breaking down the house of cards to try to rebuild a bigger one? We'll see how it goes. But to be honest, I like where I'm at now a little bit better, even though we're not making as much money, because I like partnering with brands. I like the relationship building aspect of it. I do feel what I'm doing right now is kind of from when I started Amazon in 2021 to about 2024. Those were the real easy days of Amazon, and I was really learning about Amazon. But as Amazon is changing, you have to really change with it. And what I feel like I've been doing now is I've been really planting seeds that we're not going to see for a while. And what I mean by that is, for one, I feel like I'm rooting myself deeper in the stock market by buying in a lot back in April. That was really laying the foundation of a generational time period to buy in. Promise you guys, April of 2025 is going to be something we're going to look back on a decade ago and be like, damn, that was the last dip we've seen like that in a while. Another thing as well is, as I have learned about what's going on with the economy this year, with the US dollar going down, losing 10% of its purchasing value, honestly, that's going to fuck with businesses more than anything, because, right, if the dollar is going down in value, my purchasing value is going down in value. I buy inventory. That's how I make a living. If that purchasing value is going down, that's only going to affect my business negatively. So in businesses, in W-2 employees, and everything, cost of goods going up, value of the dollar going down, we're really heading to a bad place. So I've been feeling and understanding a lot more of the value of owning crypto, and I've been educating myself in that as well, which is why I see the purpose of building my Amazon business to cash flow into these fixed assets and stock market is what I need to be doing. And to be able to do that, this business has to be built really right. It can't be flipping fucking books randomly. It can't be flipping OA products randomly. It has to be built properly with real consistent cash flow. And the only way to really do that is with brand direct. You can't wholesale. Prices always change. Supply chains get cut off. Things go wrong. You still have faults there. Brand direct is really the only way. And it is the hardest method because, like I said, you do need a lot of funding to actually do it right. You need a lot of capital to be able to spend with these companies. You need a bandwidth of a team to help you. It's not easy. But if you're not also investing in the future, you're going to get left behind with this generational change that's happening with the financial institutions, with the American currency, with cryptocurrency, with the US dollar. A lot of things are changing, and I've been feeling the weight of all of this year, and more so the weight because I'm understanding it. I'm actually wrapping my head around it. So it's a lot to take in, and it's a lot to try to think about where do I need to be, but most importantly is to diversify. So that's what I've been trying to do is, right, trying to do all of this meanwhile fucking being 24, having my own rent. Most of the guys that I graduated from college with, a lot of people are still living at home, which is totally fine, but right, I don't have that luxury. I have to still understand how to accommodate for trying to avoid the system. Meanwhile, I was all the way through the system until I graduated college, right? So I have fucking student loans. I have rent to pay with my rent also going up every single year, and the dollar going down, and inflation, cost of everything going up, it's only going to continue to get worse. So I think we broke the business down at the perfect time, because if I was still doing the same thing of just flipping books in OA, I think books will stick around for a while, but I don't think OA will. I already know OA is a lot harder nowadays too. So we broke all that shit down, and we're still trying to turn the revenue up, because basically what I did and where I currently am at is I started my Amazon business completely over again. I pulled all my money out of my business. I don't have all my money in the stock market, but I have a lot liquid to be ready to deploy into specifically crypto in 2026 and 2027. When shit crashes, when shit dips, I don't want to have 6 figures in inventory, to be honest, because you can multiply 6 figures relatively quickly when you have a good relationship and you're actively spending $30,000-$40,000 a month. You could turn that to $100K in a couple months real quickly. So I have my cash. I'm patiently waiting. Timing is very important. Basically have what I need to run my business, to sustain my business, to cover all my personal expenses. Laid the roots in my positions in the stock market in April with what I do currently have as a 24-year-old young entrepreneur that went to college, don't come from money, and I've really had to, I think, get lucky. Timing is a little bit of luck, but I got into Amazon flipping the Stanley Cups and made my first 100K doing that. And once you have a little bit more money, you can really multiply that quicker. So I think I have been in the right places where money's flowing at the right time to drum up some cash. But it's time, you guys, we all have to diversify a little bit. And continuing to buy SKUs that you're at a break even for, to buy another SKU that you're going to make some more profit for, is great, but your cash is only going down in value. You could say, all right, my Amazon business is making me, after all expenses, when you're being completely honest with yourself, instead of lying to yourself and saying I'm making 20K, you should be being honest with yourself. After all expenses, I really actually kept 14K this month. You guys got to realize the US dollar went down of its purchasing value 10% this year. And from 1930, about 100 years ago, the US dollar has gone down 100% of its purchasing value. So that's something that you could buy for, so that means that $1, something that you could buy for $1 in 1925, you could now buy for today for somewhere between $18 and $25. And the inverse of that, $1 in 1925 today has the purchasing value of $18 to $20 today currently. And it's just, guys, all of the shit is out in the open. It's out in the open. BlackRock, these companies are buying Bitcoin, hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin at all-time highs. What the fuck does that? What would you say about that? If you don't understand it yet, I wouldn't expect you to understand what that means. But you never buy stocks at all-time highs. You wait for them to come down, to buy, to go up, and ideally you should never sell and try to time the market. You should just, that is now your new wealth level, and wait for the next dip and build your liquidity while the stocks are trickling up. Build your liquidity here. They come back down, pull your money out of your business like I did, buy dips, let them come back up. If you try to time the market, you're gonna fuck up, because you can never know where the top is gonna be or where the bottom is gonna be. So that's kind of where my head is at. And I might be selling myself a little bit short, because I know these guys that do really big numbers with wholesale, Amazon Lit, these guys that have done 65 million a year with their Amazon businesses would tell me, crazy, because you can take $100,000, right, spend that in a month and make 25% ROI that month on 100K. That's 25 grand profit, versus 100K in the stock market that does 25% a year is a really good year. You make 25 grand over a 12-month period. You can multiply your money much faster in your business, but there is an importance of having time in the market. Yeah, we can multiply our money quicker here, but you got to also look at the other side of other people's successes, like Warren Buffett. He started investing when he was 11 years old. He made 99% of his wealth after he was 50. 99% of his overall wealth, guys, worth billions today. Made 99% of his wealth after 50. That's 40 years in the market. It's time in is really important, because of the late stages of compounding. And all this information only matters if you're young. If you're 50 and you learn this, it doesn't matter. You're better off multiplying your money in that Amazon business, to be honest, in that Amazon business. But this is important when you're young because we have time. It's a lot more valuable than anything, arguably one of the most valuable assets. So what I would recommend for anybody else my age and what I'm doing myself is cash flow systems. And that doesn't mean real estate. Real estate is buying assets. That's the equivalent of buying ETFs or buying Bitcoin. And I do have dreams of owning one day as well, probably start out in Section 8. But what I would say is build cash flow. And I'd say the two best ways to do that is through Amazon FBA and insurance sales. I think those are the two arguably best ways to do it. Amazon FBA, you can get started with no experience, knowledge. Being an insurance broker, you have to start out with a test. You have to study for it. It takes a while to study. You got to pass it. You got to get at least a 70% on it. I'm sure you guys could do that too. But then it also is going the route of then cold calling people, getting good at sales, getting good at persuasion, getting good at objection handling, all the same things that you have to also get good at with brand direct and wholesale. They're different spaces. Also another similar is we have to buy our inventory for Amazon. We have to buy products to resell. That's the only way to make money, is to buy products. And with insurance, it's the same thing. The only way to make money is to buy contacts that you're going to be calling, which the broker company that you work for supplies to you and also makes a profit off of that. And then with regard to Amazon, right, like to get good at insurance sales, you can start to get people to work under you that you train, that you make money off of. And then like the deal that they close, you make a small cut of. So it's pyramid as well. Amazon is, just be honest, fucking when you start doing coaching, it's a similar type of thing, except you're exchanging information. It's an upfront one-time payment thing where you can then learn something and run it for the rest of your life, and then you can start coaching as well one day. Or with insurance, it's not a one-time payment thing, but every single deal you close, your broker gets a lifetime amount of insurance. You can actually probably make more money with that pyramid thing than the coaching, but they're both similar but have differences. But I would say they are as close to one another as a lot of other things. What I really don't like about insurance is lifestyle that comes along with it is expected to fucking every single one of these guys that I graduated in college with, they all bought a Rolex their first year in insurance sales. I thought it was kind of weird. I don't do that. All buy the suits. They all do the Christian music. I'm religious as well, but I just do that with my personal relationship with God. And they all work out, listen to Christian music. It's kind of weird, but they put a big emphasis, I think even more of a bigger emphasis on the flex lifestyle than anything else. I don't really want to be associated with that. I like how Amazon is just, it's wholesale, man. It's your own thing. It's your own business. You don't have to be lavish, really, to attract people, in my opinion. Like, sure, if I bought an R8 or some fucking stupid car and a Rolex, I'd probably get a lot more people into coaching. But it's just building a business that's going to cash flow profitably into assets is going to just outweigh buying that vehicle that the coaching I'm sure would pay for. But it's just not a priority of mine right now. And that's what I like about Amazon is like, there is no social construct of it that you have with insurance where you have to fit in kind of. It's like it's its own thing you got to still try to fit into. I feel like Amazon, it's your own thing. You can do it however you please. You build your own relationships. The relationships that you build with distributors and brands are solely just based off how much you're able to spend with them. It's your own thing that you can create. I know we went down a ton of different tangents here. Just wanted to put some of my thoughts out there for you guys. Any of you guys that are going to watch this. Also explain just kind of I'm at with my business, how we made some really crazy decisions in April to change things up and be completely honest with you guys about everything. As always, we're going to crush Q4. We're going to do still a little bit of OA, pick up a couple OA SKUs to sell through the cold months, through doing some Halloween stuff right now. We're going to continue, probably going to take my whole team of VAs, put them onto OA for actually the next 2 to 3 months, because I believe like you're just going to make the most out of some quick FBM turnaround flips. I also feel like it's Q4 too. I don't know if brands are going to be at the end of the year focusing on business development. I think probably the best time to really focus on those relationships are in the slower months, which are summer and Q1. So I think we're going to be putting all of our emphasis and all of our energy and attention right now on Q4 FBM flips. We're going to be buying some stuff right now that's going to sell through the winter months, get loaded into FBA before receiving times get bad. And then once receiving times get bad in November, we're going to transition over to search for just solely FBM products. We're going to load in a couple orders with our brand direct and our distributor for FBA inventory to make sure we get them active before the receiving times get bad. And we're going to make sure we're buying a lot of stock as well to account for, one, the additional of this holiday season, and also to be able to do optimized shipment splits for everything so that we can get everything received quickly. When you send it all in one giant shipment, it takes forever to receive. We're going to be making sure we're just placing orders, splitting that stuff up evenly so it can receive as quick as possible. That's that, guys. I'll give you guys probably an update in a little bit of time, but moral of the story, I'll try to make more content on this stuff to help you guys wrap your head around this, as well as I continue to evolve and as I continue to learn about all of this. But the most important thing, guys, is to do things with intent. Ask yourself often, why am I doing this? Keep yourself disciplined. Ask yourself, what did you do this week? In regard to consistency, were you consistent this week? What actions this week did you take that led you be distracted? How can you eliminate that as much as possible? What are you really doing to fight the things out there in life that want to just wear you down, because there are a lot of them? A lot of things with the government, a lot of things with financial institutions. Until you decide that you're going to learn how not to be, you will be somebody else's pawn. In the game of chess, there are the kings, the queens, the rest of them, and there is a majority of the pawns. The pawns get moved around to protect the kings and queens. The only way to not be a pawn is to educate yourself and to learn how not to be, because people in this world start out as pawns and they work their way up because they learn how to. You will be a pawn, somebody else's pawn, till the day comes that you decide that you're not going to be. You have to learn the way they move, and you have to just start right then and there to become that. You guys have to, and the only way to do that is to build income streams, avoid taxes, and invest in fixed supply assets. Cheers.